Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5, Class 3D, and my name is Melvisa. We are going to discuss about place of articulation. Place of articulation in linguistics. What and why? In phonetic, we have a branch name of articulated phonetic, and in that branch of file, one of the most key point word is place of articulation or point of articulation. As we know, in phonetics, we study the sounds of words we utter our speech, while articulation is simply the process of mechanism of making sounds for our daily lives or speech. Once we start to study how sounds are articulated or made for speech, we start to see that there are several things that happen at the same time to make the sounds possible. One of the most important parts of consideration is the place of our tongue and lips at the time when a sound is made. As we know, there are various types of sounds that we are capable of producing, like dental sounds. Dental sounds are made when tongue and teeth come together and produce a sound. In this case, that is called the point of articulation, where the both organs come closer together. The active articulator usually moves in order to make the construction. The passive articulator usually just sits there and gets approach. In articulative phonetic, the place of articulation, also point of articulation, of a consonant is the point of contact where an obstruction occurs in the vocal tract between an articulated gesture and active articulator, typically some part of the tongue, and a passive location, typically some part of the roof of the mouth, along with the manner of articulation and the phonation. It gives the consonant its distinct sound. The terminology in this article has been developed for precisely describing all the consonants in all the word-spoken language. No language distinguishes of the past described here, so less precision is needed to distinguish the sound of particular language. Place of articulation, passive and active. 1. Exolabial. 2. Endolabial. 3. Dental. 4. Alveolar. 5. Post-alveolar. 6. Prepalatal. 7. Palatal. 8. Velar. 9. Uvular. 10. Pharyngeal. 11. Glottal. 12. Epiglottal. 13. Radical. 14. Posterior dorsal. 15. Anterior dorsal. 16. Laminal. 17. Apical. 18. Subapical. As the airstream passes through the vocal tract, it may be modified by the movement of articulation. That is by the lips and the tongue obstructing its passage through the vocal tract to varying degrees. This process is called articulation. The obstruction of airstream may occur at any point in the vocal tract, and is the result of an active articulator moving towards a passive articulator at the location on the roof of the mouth. For example, the alveolar ridge, hard palate, and etc. In short, there are some processes in producing sounds. First, air passes from the lungs through the trachea to the larynx, commonly called the voice box, which houses the vocal cords. If the cords are slightly tense, the passage of air sets the vocal cords vibrating, which gives a basic sound quality to the airstream, which continue into the pharynx, where basic voice quality is established. Voice quality determines the unique characteristic of each speaker's voice. so that an individual often can be recognized by voice alone. Above the pharynx is the uvula, which is a movable tap that controls passage of air through the nasal cavity. The uvula is always open when an individual breathes through the nose, but it is only open at certain times during the course of speech. For the most part, the phloem of soft palate is closed in speech, and the air moves through the oral cavity, the mouth. Dimension of change according to the interaction the tongue and lips. This change results in what all speakers of language recognize to be the sounds of their language. The study of the speech sounds is called phonetic. The larynx or voice box is a cylindrical framework of cartilage that serves to anchor the vocal folds. When the muscles of the vocal folds contract, the airflow from the lungs is impeded until the vocal folds are forced apart again by the increasing air pressure from the lungs. The process continues in a periodic cycle that is felt as a vibration or buzzing. In singing, the vibration frequency of the vocal folds determines the pitch of the sound produced. Voice phonemes, such as the pure vowels, are by definition distinguished by the buzzing sounds of this periodic oscillation of the vocal cords. The lips of the mouth can be used in a similar way to create a similar sound, as any toddler or trumpeter can demonstrate. A rubber balloon, inflated but not tied off and stretched lightly across the neck, produces a squeak or buzz. Depending on the tension across the neck and the level of pressure inside the balloon, similar action with similar results occur when the vocal cords are contracted or relaxed across the larynx. The passive of articulation is the place on the more stationary part of the vocal tract where the articulation occurs and can be anywhere from the lips, upper teeth, gums, or roof of the mouth to the back of the throat. Although it's continuum, there are several contrastive areas, so language may distinguish consonants by articulating them in different areas. But few languages contrast two sounds within the same area unless there is some other feature which contrasts as well. The following areas are contrastive. 1. The upper lip or labial. 2. The upper teeth, either on the edge of the teeth or inner surface, dental. 3. The alveolar ridge, the gum line just behind the teeth, alveolar. 4. The back of the alveolar ridge or post-alveolar. 5. The hard palate on the roof of the mouth, palatal. 6. The soft palate further back on the roof of the mouth, velar. 7. The uvula hanging down at the entrance to the throat, uvular. 8. The throat itself, as known as the pharynx or pharyngeal. 9. The epiglottis at the entrance to the windpipe, above the voice bag, epiglottal.
Passage of articulation. The regions are not centrally separate. For instance, in some sounds in many languages, the surface of the tongue which contact a relatively large from the back of the upper teeth to the alveolar ridge, which is common enough to have received its own name. The anti-alveolar, likewise, the alveolar and post-alveolar regions merge into each other. As to the heart and soft plate, the soft plate and the uvula and all Egyptian religions, term like prevelar, interment between palatal and velar, postvelar between velar and uvular, and upper versus lower, partially by used to specify more precisely where an articulation and takes place. However, although a language may contract prevelar and postvelar sounds, it does not also contract them with palatal and uvular sound of the type consonant. So, contracts are limited to the number above, if not always their exact location. Active pledge of articulation. Number 1. This is the articulation gesture of the active pledge of articulation involve the more mobile part of the vocal tract, typical some part of the language or lips. The following are known to be contractive. Number 2, the lower lip and this labial. Number 3, various parts of the front of the tongue which is coronal, not corona. Number 4, the tip of the tongue which is apical. Number 5, the upper front surface of the tongue just behind the tip, called the blade of the tongue, is laminal. Number 6, the surface of the tongue which under the tip subapical. This. Number 7, the body of the tongue which is dorsal. Number 8, the base, aka root of the tongue which and the throat is pharyngeal. Number 9, the area epiglottic fall inside the throat. This area epiglottal. Number 10, the glottis at the very back of the one part is glottal of articulation in bilabial consonant, but lips move to the articulatory gesture brings the lips together. But by convention, the lower lip is said to be active and upper lip passive. Similarly, in lingual consonant to the tongue which contact the upper lip with the upper lip activity moving down to meet the tongue which, not less the tongue which is commonly said to be active and the lip passive, if no other reason than that the parts of the mouth below the vocal tract are typical active and thus above the vocal tract are typical passive. In dorsal gestures, different part of the body of the language contact different part of the roof of the mouth, but it cannot independently contract, so they are all subject under the term dorsal, that is unlike this coronal. These gestures are involving the front of the language, which is more flexible. The aplegic may be active and contact the parents, or passive, being contacted by aripiglotal folds. Distinction made in the laryngeal areas are very difficult to observe and are the subject of ongoing investigation, and several still identified and combination are so possible. Next, active place of articulation. The glutes arch open itself is a sometimes a fuzzy line between glottal, arien-pizglottal, and apical consonant and phonation, which use the some areas, unlike the passive articulation, which consonant. There are 5 discrete active articulators. The leaf, this label consonant, the flexible front of the language, this coronal consonant, liminal, apical, and subapical. The middle back of the language, this dorsal consonants, the root of the language together with the epiglotis. This perigonal or radical consonant. This radical, the consonant, perigon or radical consonant, and the glottal consonant. The articulation are discrete in that they can examinably each other, and 2 or more my work together is what is called cartification. See below the distinction, however, between the various, the cardinal are articulation, liminal, apical, and subapical is a consonant without clear boundaries. And next is table of gesture and passive articulators and resulting pledge of articulation. Passive vocabulary of combining the 2 pledge of articulation is sometimes seen, however, this is usually reduced of the passive articulation, which is generally sufficient. Thus, dorsal, palatal, Dorsal velar and dorsal ovular are usually just called palatal, filar, and uvular, where there is ambiguity. Additional terms have been invented to show subapical palatal is more commonly called retroflex. Retroflex. This next homogenic consonant. A consonant that have the same pledge of articulation, such as the alveolar sound and T, D, S, Z, E, in English are said to be homogeny. Similarly, labial P, B, M, and filler K, G, and are homogenic, a homogeneous nasal rule. And instead of assimilation operates in many languages where a nasal consonant must be homogenic with a following stop. This with English interpret but impossibly. Other example is found in Yoruba, where the present tense of behind is MBA is heading, while the present of soon F sun sleep in sun is sleeping. Central and literal articulation. The tongue which contact the mouth with a surface which has two dimensions, length and width. So far, only points of articulation along its length have been considered. However, articulation varies along its width as well. When the airstream is directed down the center of the language, the consonant is said to be central. If, however, it is deflected off to one side, escaping between the side of the language and the side teeth, it's said to be literal. Not least, for simplicity's take the pledge of articulation is assumed to be the point along the length of the language, and the consonant may in initial be said to be central or literal. That is, a consonant may be letter alveolar like English.
Next slide is co-articulation. Some languages have consonant with two simultaneous places of articulation, called co-articulation. When these are doubly articulated, the articulator must be independently movable, and therefore there may only be one each from the major categories labeled coronal, dorsal, radical, and laryngeal. Common co-articulation include labialization, rounding the lips while producing the obstruction, as in K and English W. Palatalization, raising the body of the tongue toward the hard palate. while producing the obstruction as in Russian T and G. Velarization, raising the back of the tongue toward the soft palate or velum, as in the English dark L, I, or also transcribed E. Parietalization, contrition of the throat or paring, such as Arabic emphatic T. Production of vowels. A vowel is any phoneme in which airflow is impeded only or mostly by the voicing action of the vocal cord. The well-defined fundamental frequency provided by the vocal cord in voice phonemes is only a convenience, however not a necessity, since a strictly unvoiced whisper is still quite intelligible. Our interest in the firm must focus on further modulation of an addiction to the fundamental tone by other part of the vocal apparatus, determined by the variable dimension of oral, pharyngeal, and even nasal cavities. Formants are the resonant frequencies of the vocal thread that emphasize particular voice harmonic near in frequency to the resonant or turbulent non-periodic energy or I.e. noise near the formant frequency. In the case of whispered speech, the formant tell a listener what vowel is being spoken. Component used to make consonant sound. 1. The place of articulation, where the sound are made, and 2. The articulator, what are used to make the sound. The articulator are the instrument, e.g. your tongue, used to make a sound. The location on the mouth where the articulator are placed are the place of articulation. Component used to make consonant sound. Example, the two lips. The articulator meet to form the bilabial sound of B and P. The tip of the tongue. The articulator meet with the alveolar ridge, the place of articulation, which is right behind the front teeth. In order to form the alveolar sound of D and T, there are 7 places of articulation used to distinguish consonant sound. Place of articulation bilabial or two lips, produced with the two lips B, P, M, W, as in by, pie, my, and wall. Labiodental or lip and teeth, produced with the upper teeth and inner lower lip. F, V, as in feel and feel. Interdental or between teeth, produced with the tongue tip on or near the inner surface of the upper teeth. O, as in teeth, and then alveolar or behind teeth. produced with the tongue tip on or near the tooth ridge. T, D, S, Z, and I. As in to, do, new, and like. Palatal or top, middle of mouth. Produced by the body of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth in the palatal area. As in shin, genre, shape, judge, read, and yes. That the sound are all pronounced with the front of tongue placed of the top of mouth, while the G, Y one is pronounced with more of the rear of the tongue placed a bit further back on the palate. Then finally the R sound is made with the seed of the tongue placed on the seed of the roof of the mouth pressed against the teeth. These are the abbreviated name for the place of articulation used in English. Bilabial, the articulator, are the two lips. We could say that the lower lip is the active articulation and the upper lip the passive articulator. Thus, the upper lip usually move to at least a little. English bilabial sound include P, B, and M. Labiodental, the lower lip is the active articulator and the upper teeth are the passive articulator. English labiodental sound include F and V. Dental sound include the upper teeth as the passive articulator. The active articulator may be either the tongue tip or usually the tongue blade. Dentals are the initial sound of word thin and teeth. Are the abbreviated name for the place of articulation used in English. Alveolar sound include the alveolar ridge as the passive articulator. The active articulator may be either the tongue blade or usually the tongue tip. English alveolar sound include T, D, N, S, Z, I. First alveolar sound include the area just behind the alveolar ridge as the passive articulator. The active articulator may be either the tongue tip or usually the tongue blade. English post-alveolars linguistics have traditionally used very inconsistent terminology in referring to the post. A vowel is any phoneme in which air flow is impeded only or mostly by the voicing action of the vocal cord. The well-defined fundamental frequency provided by the vocal cord in voice phonemes is only a convenience, however, not a necessity, since a strictly unvoiced whisper is still quite intelligible. Our interest is therefore most focused on further modulation of an addition to the fundamental tone by other parts of the vocal apparatus determined by the variable dimensions of oral, pharyngeal, and even nasal cavities.